Stadium in Iowa City, one of the toughest places to play in the Big Ten to open the season in the Big Ten, and they walk away with a 43-24 win. And I want you to know, Gary Moeller, that was a big victory for this Michigan squad coming off a tough loss against Florida State.
The difference a week makes, and particularly when you look at the first quarter, that's why I'm most proud of this team, is because losing last week, getting behind 18-7, and then coming back the way they did, shows there's a little character there and makes us a better football team because of it. You
knew walking into this ball game that it was going to be tough, though. You knew that was going to happen.
Yeah, it's the most difficult place to play. The fans are so, they're right close, closer, Jim. It's loud. You can't automatic a lot. Here, Desmond Howard, we get off to a fast start. He goes about 50 yards on a reverse, makes a nice play, but we get down in that strike zone, we call it, and we fail to score here because really I think this field goal is blocked, but I think it's just kicked too low. And boy, those points, we had 4 field goal opportunities. We only cashed in on 1. That really made it for a long day.
And that keeps their fans in the game big time, which you don't want to have happen.
Yeah, it keeps them very excited. And our defense started out playing well. I think they had 3 bad drives in the game, but they started out playing well and really got us on the board first with this block punt. Deion Johnson, a sophomore, comes in and blocks the punt. Dave Ritter, who blocked him last year when Ware picked him up, finally gets his turn to pick one up and score a touchdown. So that put us in good shape. That helped.
Kind of a gift. You're ahead 7-0, but then they start to move the football in your defense.
Yeah, right here we had them stop for a 2-yard loss, Jim, and then they bounce outside. This happened to us last week 2 times.
In the first half, when they started to drive, you had to be a little concerned.
Right. 3rd and 1. Here's Rodgers on the option. He goes for 5 yards or so and a first down. Then they get back and they start throwing the ball. There's a shovel pass, which we come up here in decent shape, keep it about a little under 10 yards.
In the early going, their tight end hurt you.
Yeah, getting deep down the middle. Really hurt us. Then here's a switch at halftime. They're going to hit the tight end over the middle. He goes down to the 1. Then Montgomery jumps in over the left side there for the touchdown.
They missed the extra point, so it's 7-6 at this time, and the crowd big into the game. You got to be thinking, whoa.
Right, we take the ball, Jim, and can't move it, and then we just have a big miscue, and this is one of the things that I just hate. And we had this happen 2 years ago to us on 3 occasions, and we cannot give up blocked punts. The kicking game for both teams was sad. Then Rodgers comes down, and the next play runs the option and scores. They go for 2 and miss, 12-7.
You come back, and for the first time in the game, second quarter, the offense really starts to put together a drive.
Yeah, we get the ball moving here a little bit. We start with Ricky over the left side there, and we pick up 8. And Elvis rolls out nice here on kind of a bootleg pass. And Desmond makes an excellent catch, hanging onto the sideline.
3rd and 1 play here.
3rd and 1's been a tough down for us. Here we go, the pass. Bernie picks up 10, fumbles the ball. Now you talk about a crowd being excited in their team. Everything we do at this point is really backfired.
And their offense comes in and then regains momentum again.
There's a guy you're talking about, and this is a great throw by Rodgers, and Cross makes a nice catch, and that's the tight end down the middle. They come right back and hit Hughes on a big play, getting on the right boundary here in front of their bench. Big play, gets the ball and runs with it.
Too much time to throw for Rodgers.
Yeah, exactly there. About 5 times in that game that happened. Then they come down, fake the option. They just scored on through the pass. Now we're in trouble.
18-7, you're in trouble.
And we need a big play.
You've got to get a big play in order to get back in the ball game.
And here's Elvis hitting Yale Van Dyne over the middle. Yale has really come along for us. Breaks a tackle here. Goes somewhere in the neighborhood of 60 yards, and that's a big play for us.
That gets you back in position. Now the kids got to be thinking a little more optimistically about the ball game.
Yeah, we get it down to the 1 that takes us 3 downs here, and Ricky Powers goes on a toss sweep to the left, scores, making it 18-13.
You go for 2, failed to get it done, and then the weirdest call of the game.
The next series, they faked a punt at about midfield on about 4th and 9, I believe it was, Jim. 4th, 9, 4th and 10. And we stopped them. Our kids were heads up there. We came right back. We moved the ball a little bit. Then we threw this screen pass to Jesse Johnson. He hit the seam right there, and he was gone. And that was a big play there. Yale Van Dyne on a great block there. As you indicated, he knocked him down about twice on that play.
19-18 at halftime, and you have to think, man, I got a gift from Hayden Fry on that fake punt. Gives me the ball with 1.5 minutes left to go. You get in and take the lead. Momentum switch, big time right there.
Yeah, I think it switched. It was helpful, but, you know, you're still only 1 point up and you're playing at Iowa. Makes a difference, and they had moved the ball on a couple occasions, which really scared me. Now the key is come back the second half. You have to put points on the board.
There's no question. The second half was a big half of football for the Wolverines. We'll look at that second half, but first we hear from some of the special teams heroes from Saturday's game.
Yeah, I think it's just reverse what happened last year. We always got to be ready to be able to do things like that. We're a good special teams team, and I think the table's just reversed from what I did last year. I think Deion Johnson got his hands on the ball, and they manned up on me, so the ball was just laying there. And like every Michigan team, we just put special emphasis on the special teams.
When we came in for the third quarter from halftime, we knew that we didn't play well the first half, and all we wanted to do was come out and stop them. You know, we figured the offense would get going, and all we had to do was stop them. Sure enough, that's what happened.
Brian Townsend pretty much reflects what Michigan had to do coming in the second half. They really got a gift from Iowa with that fake punt where you stopped them. You knew you had to come out in the second half and play better both sides of the ball.
Right, I told the kids at halftime I'd give them, you know, exactly what we had to do, Jim. Come out and put some points on the board in the first drive, and we failed to do that. We had a punt right away.
But your defense really picked it up.
Defense played well. Here's good coverage, and Brian Townsend comes in and makes this sack, but we had good coverage. We wanted to let it go, then he had to pull it back down. Now we start getting a little momentum with our offense.
Jesse Johnson gets the call at tailback and really responds. Why did you go to Jesse Johnson?
Well, to be honest with you, Jim, someone told me Ricky Powers broke his hand, so I thought it'd be a good idea to put another back in. And Jesse had been doing well in practice, and here he gets a couple good runs. And he'd been doing well in practice and deserved a shot in there. You always worry about young backs getting in there and hanging on the ball. Then we hit a wide-open Desmond Howard. We caught him in a blitz. Desmond ran a post route on the corner or on the strong safety and was wide open, and Elvis did a good job laying it in there with the guy in his face. Here again, Lance Doughton comes up. This is the kind of thing you have to have when you play zone coverage. If they complete the ball, or complete the pass, you got to get after them. This is impressive, Jim. 97 yards touchdown drive here we're going to see, and Elvis hitting Yale Van Dyne to get it all started from our own end zone.
At this point, you're up 26-18. You need to have the ball in a time-consuming drive and pull up some points.
And here's the big play. Jesse Johnson's breaking loose on this when he gets caught from behind. It's a tough time. Sometimes Burning's going to drop one in this case. A second, fumbling the ball so a guy doesn't strip you. But Jesse ran real well there.
Moving to the fourth quarter, you still got the lead. Ricky Powers back.
Came back.
Broken hand apparently healed.
Yeah, I don't think the hand was broken, and I think giving him a breather allowed him to run a little better. Then Elvis finds Desmond in the corner of the end zone all by himself. When they gang up in there, Jim, we have to do that more often.
And when Desmond gets single coverage, you've got to go to him.
Exactly. No question about it.
Defensively,
there's another big hit by Corwin Brown.
You got to have that when you play zone, right?
Exactly. Exactly. You got to knock the ball loose and don't kill one another getting excited. Here's Ricky making a nice run here. Looked like the Ricky Powers roll. I think he geared it up and got a little fresher and hit the hole a little quicker.
Then you go back again to Johnson, who is small, but, boy, powerful, big legs.
He's 205 pounds, about 5'9", he says. I say 5'6", but there, J.D. Carlson. We needed that field goal. That was 4th and a foot, but I knew we needed those 3 points at that time.
It put Iowa down by 2 scores and more, and that you needed to have happen.
Yeah, that tight end down the middle again. That's another Boston College play, which we can't allow to happen. And this is one of their big drives here. They just keep the momentum. They keep the ball going. They get down inside. Now Rodgers rolls out, dives. They're probably going to score anyway. They didn't score on that particular play, however, and they give them a touchdown. But
they gave him the touchdown.
They're probably going to score anyways.
The 2-point conversion failed, but it's 36-24.
Here's a nice run by Bernie Leggett, our fullback, breaking loose. If he has the speed here, he may go all the way. Breaks to the outside here. And he goes down. When he hits the ground, the ball comes loose. We got to hang on to those.
4th and 7. late in the game, you're still just trying to put it away, and Johnson goes the distance. 17 yards for the touchdown.
He had a good day, needless to say, and it's good now we have a change of pace in there. And I'd really still like to get Tyrone Wheatley in there some. I still think he has good potential. He's a freshman. He settles down. I think he's going to give us some help.
What a problem for a coach. 3 running backs that are playing well. Powers, Johnson, Wheatley.
Yeah, well, you never know what's going to happen, Jim, and I think it keeps the atmosphere around the locker room very competitive, and that makes for a better setting. Every young man today needs competition. They don't have someone pushing them. They go downhill a little bit, and it's good to have that. And our line blocked well, particularly the second half. It blocked better. I think the size may have warmed down a little bit.
You're through a pretty rough part of your schedule. You still got rough to go yet, but where are you at this point after the Iowa game?
Well, you got 1 win in a conference, and I say kind of 1.5. If we would have lost Iowa, I'd say we'd be 1.5 down, because, you know, if you tie at the end, they beat you, so they go to the Rose Bowl. So we're another half game up on them. But we got a tough game in East Lansing. I don't care what happened to them yesterday. It's going to be a physical game. It's a big rivalry. Now Indiana beats them 31-0. So what are they going to come in here with? A quarterback, Green, who has a lot of experience and what they claim to be the best running back in the Big Ten.
And he might well be, and Indiana might be a bigger threat than a lot of people thought prior to the season. But we've got to come back and look at one of Michigan's quiet leaders inside. That's next when Michigan Replay continues.
I'm just excited, you know, everything's going through my head. Like, I'm glad I played, that's all, you know. I'm glad I contributed to the team. Well, it was a great experience, you know. It's once I got the hang of it, it felt like high school, except they hit a lot harder. Hit a lot harder.
Eric Anderson is not an ordinary guy.
I'm not really a loud guy. I'm not really a loud leader. I like to show a lot of emotion, but I don't like yelling and screaming and that sort of stuff. I think that kind of comes off as being phony emotion sometimes. I mean, I know a lot of times that it's real, and when guys do get excited, you know, sometimes guys do yell, but I don't do that. I don't know, maybe it's just the way I was brought up. I just don't feel that yelling and screaming really gets a lot done. You know, sometimes it's needed, but I'd rather go out there and show what I can do and play tough and let that show for itself.
Eric's biggest moment at Michigan was starting and winning a Rose Bowl in his first season. But his career started as a fullback, and although he's grateful about the switch to linebacker, whenever he gets an interception or gets the ball on a fake punt, the old running back instincts take over. And whatever you do, don't tell him he looked a little funny while running with the ball.
I thought I looked pretty good. I don't know if I would have gained too many yards. I think I was running back and forth too much to gain a lot of yards, but I was slipping some tackles here and there. I don't know, it's kind of one of those things that your instincts kind of take over once you have the ball in your hands. I really don't remember making cuts or running around. It's just kind of afterwards you look at the film and you're like, you know, I did that, or I could move like that. I didn't know, so it's kind of different.
How much ribbing did you take from the guys?
A lot. A lot. They call me happy feet, sweet feet. Jeez. They told me just to run north and south instead of, so they were trying to get blocks, but they didn't know where I was, so it was tough.
The ribbing he takes about his running skills is part of what Anderson likes most about the game. You see, when it's his teammates ribbing him, it's okay, because the team is what's most important to this Wolverine captain.
I think the team attitude here at Michigan, you know, really, I think that's what I stand for, too. I think that's one of the reasons why I came to Michigan, is because that I could really relate to that. You know, I'd like to get the recognition. I'd like to get, you know, some of those honors, but not at the expense or the cost of the team. Those are nice, but they're not. That's not what you play for, really.
By listening to Eric, you can see that he was a good choice by his last stadium in Iowa City. One of the toughest places to play in the Big Ten to open the season in the Big Ten, and they walk away with a 43-24 win. And I want you to know, Gary Moeller, that was a big victory for this Michigan squad coming off a tough loss against Florida State.
The difference a week makes, and particularly when you look at the first quarter, that's why I'm most proud of this team, is because losing last week, getting behind 18-6, makes a nice play, but we get down in that strike zone, we call it, and we fail to score here because really, I think this field goal is blocked, but I think it's just kicked too low. And boy, those points, we had 4 field goal opportunities. We only cashed in on 1. That really made it for a long day.
And that keeps their fans in the game big time, which you don't want to have happen.
Yeah, it keeps them very excited. And our defense started out.
Move the football in your defense.
Yeah, right here, we had them stopped for a 2-yard loss, Jim, and then they bounce outside. This happened to us last week 2 times.
In the first half, when they started to drive, you had to be a little concerned.
Right, 3rd and 1. Here's Rodgers on the option. He goes for 5 yards or so and a first down. Then they get back and they start throwing the ball. There's a shovel pass, which we come up here in decent shape, keep it about 7, and then coming back the way they did. Shows there's a little character there and makes us a better football team because of it.
You knew walking into this ball game that it was going to be tough, though. You knew that was going to happen.
Yeah, it's the most difficult place to play. The fans are so, they're right close, closer, Jim. It's loud. You can't automatic a lot. Here, Desmond Howard, we get off to a fast start. He goes about 50 yards on a reverse, playing well. I think they had 3 bad drives in the game, but they started out playing well and really got us on the board first with this block punt. Deion Johnson, a sophomore, comes in and blocks the punt. Dave Ritter, who blocked him last year when Ware picked him up, finally gets his turn to pick one up and score a touchdown. So that put us in good shape. That helped.
Kind of a gift. You're ahead 7-0, but then they start to